here we begin with the super quick revision of cost sheet. So one by one, we will take all the chapters, super quick revision. Now, what's the purpose of doing this super quick revision videos? Already detailed videos are available in the app. And if you have opted for Sarthi, you also have, along with that, the revision videos with important questions of the module, of the past exams and RTP. Now, this super quick video is the video whenever you are free, just put your headphones, listen to it repeatedly so that when the concept is clear, the pen will flow in exam. There are few formats, few logics in costing which are like maths. So the first promise is this is the question paper, this is the answer sheet, data just copy from there. Okay, in accounts we usually go by the T format and all, but this is the data, this is the answer sheet. When you write it, you will automatically get it, right? So here we begin with the cost sheet quick revision, and separate videos will be made covering up theory questions from all the chapters which are very important for the last question. Okay, right? Paper pattern and all we have earlier discussed with the MTP. One playlist is made for all the MTPs, right? So check that. Now, when we say cost sheet, what is a cost sheet? It is a sheet, in layman's language, a chitta, where you record all your cost so that you know what is my total cost of producing this item, from raw material to labor to all the overheads, factory overhead, admin overhead, selling overhead. This is my cost. On this cost, my margin is fixed. If margin is 20% on cost, take cost as 100, 20% and profit and sales. If margin is on sales 20%, then take sales as 100, profit as 20 and cost as 80. This concept, what I'm saying, is called as universal concept, which you can use in all the cost sheet. Frankly speaking, your job costing, batch costing, operating costing, service costing, process costing, these are also cost sheet. But the format of those cost sheets are different according to the nature of their business. Today, we are doing cost sheet wherein we write all the cost one after the another as given in the question. Okay. And then the total cost and profit and selling price. This will help us to know, okay, my cost is 8 rupees. I'm selling it in 10. Someone is giving me bulk orders 9.5. I may accept. Someone is asking me, I'll give you super bulk order. Give me in 7 rupees. You will say, nahi parvarta. Why that? Because 8 rupees is your cost. So there are a lot of benefits of preparation of the cost sheet that can also be asked as question. And be prepared, once you know the format of the cost sheet, they can ask you missing figures. They'll give you sales, they'll give you profit, they'll give you total cost. And upar niche kahin pe either purchase is missing and some connecting figures are missing. Cost sheet can be made with stock, cost sheet can be made without stock. And now the pitfalls for the student. Last few exam papers we have just solved in this last week in the Sarthi batch. The pitfalls are that some of the overheads we don't know where to put. Like royalty. Royalty is charged as direct expenses. R&D and all expenses after the factory overhead. Sale of scrap factory overhead के बाद minus करना है. Secondary packing sales से related. So, ma'am, even if I write instead of factory overhead, I have included that in admin or selling. Will I get the total cost and the profit and selling price correct? Answer is yes. But few things will go wrong. So a very quick revision of the format, and I have made separate booster notes. Those booster notes are now and then, if you check it, no, sometimes say this month you have completed costing, next month we are taking taxation Sarthi batch, you are joining that. Now in that also sometimes off track, just revise the concept, format and booster notes. You will be in touch with that subject. Okay. All right. So let us take it up now. I'll share the screen now. So here we check with all the details of the format of the cost sheet with special emphasis on the pitfalls so that you are aware you are not making any mistake. Listen, all of you. Cost sheet is the topic which comes in exam for 10 marks, and you should never miss it out in choice. You know, sometimes overhead full question they will ask. Sometimes process costing full question is there. Sometimes it will vanish. Cost sheet is the topic which comes in every exam for 10 marks and super scoring. And the format of the cost sheet is particulars, working, you know, like this simple format we will follow. Particulars, then some working you will do, and then say amount column, and per unit sometimes you have to make if detail is given. Some of the questions they don't ask you per unit, leave it. Okay, I'll check with all of you the recent questions also, wherein nowadays they are asking you to make cost sheet for 2 products. So this is very interesting, you know, this cost sheet or non-integrated accounts. Non-integrated accounts is same cost sheet written left and right in a debit credit format. So if you enjoy this, if you watch this 2-3 times, this concept will fit into your mind and you will have a very good speed to complete the problem and exam in 3 hours, right? So cost sheet. Now let us see what is the concept of the cost sheet. First, let us see the format. Okay, the main format. Then I will talk with all of you in detail. Suppose if they give you a small cost sheet, 5 mark question without any stocks. So material, direct material is that material which is the part of the output. Like peanuts is direct material for groundnut oil. Direct labor which can be associated with the production, and direct expenses. All these material, labor, overhead put together is called as prime cost. Okay. So many times they give direct material plus conversion cost is total cost. Now what is conversion cost? Labor and overhead. If they give 60% of the conversion cost, labor is 6,000. Can I say 40% of the conversion cost is overhead? That is 4,000. So this is also a concept which you should all know. Okay. Now after the prime cost, we add factory related expenses, supervisor salary, factory related whatever machinery we are using for that, depreciation, insurance, repairs, all that. We get factory cost or works cost. Add administrative overhead, right? Okay, which is related to the factory, research, development, office related cost, all. Then cost of the production we get, and add selling expenses, we get cost of sales, add profit sales. See, here is the equation. If sales is 100 and profit is 20% on sales, this will be 80. If it is cost is 100, let us take, and this is 20%, and then sales is 120. Is this clear to all of you? Now let us check up the format of cost sheet with stock. Whenever I say stock, your AS2, your material chapter, take a pause. These are super quick revision videos, so you need to interlink the subject. वैसे ही 4 एग्जाम देना है, तो जो एक जगह याद रखना है वो सब जगह याद रख लो, right? AS2 and material. Okay, right. So material chapter also we study. AS2 says whenever I say stock, you know, dear students, what do I mean by stock? Stock of raw material, stock of work in progress. You know, some crude oil or pulp of peanuts is there, which is yet not converted into clear oil. And then we have the finished goods, okay, which are ready in the stock, of course with the primary packing. You can't keep oil ki haan sab log aayenge can leke oil leke jayenge, so at least you will do some primary packing in 1 liter sachet, and then you supply to malls and all. So 12 sachet you will put it in the cartoon box, and that will become your secondary packing. So are you getting comfortable with all the terms of the cost sheet? What all stocks I am adding? Raw material, work in progress, finished goods. Now pay attention to this format of cost sheet, especially where I am parking the stocks. Start with opening stock of raw material. Add purchases. Now purchases, the how the way you will write that we will study separately in the material chapter also. And logically we know when we purchase, Do we pay unloading, loading, carriage, inward charges? Yes. On load, transit, freight, insurance, वो सब तो pay करना पड़ता है ना? Yes. In purchases, ma'am, shall we add GST? Only if input tax credit is not availed. तो फिर GST add कर दो. On purchases, if you have paid GST and you are availing ITC, don't take that credit. I mean, say don't add it here because separately you are doing output, input, payable. चलें आगे. Now, so purchases में you know कि all GST, some toll tax you have paid, some custom duty you have paid, trade discount कुछ है तो minus होगा. This is all covered in material chapter, but repetition is the key. So I am doing here. If they give in purchases within 10 days, if you make payment, you will get cash discount and all. No. Demurrage charges. What are demurrage charges? Your goods are held in port over the time. They asked you to pick it up in 3 days till 5 days. You didn't go. You have to pay. It's a penalty not to be added. So, opening stock of raw material. Ma'am, so much story we have to remember. So many time purchases will just be given to you. You don't, this is all extra bits I have told you. Yes, right? And sometimes they give you insurance of raw material. Yes, so that insurance of the raw material will come in your expenses here. Stock of the raw material. Here also you can add insurance related to the raw material. So opening stock of material plus purchase minus the closing will give you raw material consumed. Direct labor we all know. Direct expenses. This is prime cost. Add factory overhead. After the factory overhead, you can write here one more item as gross factory cost or gross works cost. Add opening work in progress. That means take a pause, work in progress, which is in between. In that factory related, all the expenses have come. Okay. Opening work in progress, closing work in progress, you are getting factory cost. In factory cost, add administrative overhead, general overhead, your accounts department related expenses. In exam, they are asking you directors sitting fees, accounts department में whatever machineries are used, computer, AC, all that. For that AMC, uska depreciation, repairs, insurance, all that will come here. Okay. R&D expenses, primary packing. And if there is a sale of some scrap or finished goods, if it is scrap of raw material, you can minus here only. But if it is generally the sale of scrap and all of the finished goods, you do it here. Okay, right? Then what you get, you call it as cost of production. Okay, in the cost of production, add opening finished goods. See, you have produced 10,000 units. 1,000 units are already there. How many units are available for sale? 11,000. Cost of the production, 10,000. Cost of the finished goods, 1,000. Cost of the goods available for sale, 11,000. Clear? Right? Out of that, finished goods in godown is 3,000. So what is the cost of the goods sold? 8,000. Is the format clear? Once you get cost of production, add opening finished goods minus closing finished goods, you get the COGS, cost of the goods sold. Add selling and distribution expenses, sales related delivery van, uska depreciation, repairs, insurance, salesman ka salary, traveling expense, advertisement, discounts you are giving in the sales, marketing expense, secondary packing, all this will come under selling and distribution, and you will get the cost of sales, then profit, then sales. Now, very important is, do you know how many units are produced? 10,000. How many units are sold? 8,000. Is this plus minus clear to all of you? Then, factory overhead, if they give you per unit, it is always charged for number of units produced. जितने units produce हुए, उतना factory overhead होगा. Administrative overhead, in case if they give you per unit, it is for number of units produced. Selling expenses are always for number of units sold. because already what is in go down 3000 units, so you have minus. So whatever is sold related to that selling expenses are incurred, and you get the sales and profit. Am I clear? Ask me if you have any doubt. If you're watching this as recording, comment below the video and clear your doubt. In the description, Telegram link is there. Join the link, click the picture and send. I'll clear your doubts with voice note. Okay? So this is all the format of the cost sheet. Can we say it without looking over there? Opening stock of raw material. Opening stock of raw material, purchases, GST और वो सब clear है, minus closing stock, we get direct material consumed, add labor, add direct expenses, we get prime cost. In prime cost, add factory related expenses, we get works cost, gross works cost, add opening work in progress. Work in progress की जगह कहाँ है? Factory overhead के बाद, minus the closing work in progress. Okay, now we get works cost. Add administrative overhead related to production. If it is related to sales, sometimes they give an exam, administrative expenses related to sales, take it in the selling expense. R&D expense, sale of scrap minus karo, so you will get the cost of the production. Add opening finished goods, deduct closing finished goods, you get the cost of the goods sold. Now whatever goods you have sold, add selling expenses for number of units sold. Ma'am, I did whole cost sheet correct, but by mistake selling expenses also I took number of units produced, gone. And then you get the total cost. And then you get the profit, cost of sales, I call it, cost of goods sold, add selling expenses, cost of sales, add profit, you get sales. Every chapter, even if you are doing overhead, you will revise this cost sheet. Even if you are doing job costing, yay cost sheet. Even if you are doing at the end budgeting, fixed flexible, this cost sheet. Even if you are doing non-integrated T format account, same terms. So the more you repeat this video for revision, sometimes you've studied 8-10 hours accounts, taxation, law, you are tired. Just to divert and change yourself, put headphones, listen to this video. Okay? That will really help you. And now let me talk about some pitfalls along with the booster notes. But पहले से थोड़ा सा detail we will check. Okay? What items you have to park where, that I want to check with you very quickly. Okay, so we all know that what is material opening purchases minus sale material consumed, and in material add freight, insurance, all trade discount, you minus duties and taxes. Okay, right. Now employee related direct cost. Nowadays, we are paying to employee wages, allowances, perquisites, PF, ESIC. All that तो मैम labor chapter में है ना, PF, ESIC कब add करना है. But they can give you that part in the cost sheet also. So whenever you pay to direct labor, all PF, ESIC and all added over here. All benefits, bonus, overtime payment, all. Direct expenses, students are not clear what will come here, and most of the direct expenses they put in factory overhead, and there you lose your stepwise marks. So what will come in the direct expenses, we are very clear now. Cost of the utilities, power, fuel expenses, royalty. If I am making dairy milk in Hyderabad, I need to pay royalty. Without that, I can't do the production to the Cadbury's company. So this royalty will come as direct expenses. Sometimes machinery, I may take it on rent. Technical know-how. You know, when we manufacture something, the molds, dies, jigs, like you make laddus, you use dyes and all these are your direct expenses. Okay, cost of the product, specific design, some software you are using specifically for the production, you are using some technical know-how and all that will come here. Okay, as your direct expenses. Now after this, what will come in the factory overhead? Factory se related consumable and stores, this I call it as indirect material. From leather, I'm making leather sheets. But along with that, I need beads, laces, sole, right? All that will my indirect material factory overhead. Depreciation of the plant and machinery, lease rent of the production related assets. See, depreciation will come in factory admin selling. Is it depreciation for factory machinery? तो उसका depreciation repairs insurance उधर लो. Office का laptop computer, उसका depreciation repairs in the admin. Delivery vans depreciation repairs insurance in the sales. ठीक है? Right. Repairs, maintenance of plant and machinery used in factory. Indirect labor. What is indirect labor? I may have some supervisor in the factory who's looking after all the departments. So he is indirect labor, factory overhead. Drawings, design, insurance of the plant and machinery, building, stock insurance. Stock insurance will come here. Yes. If it is only insurance for purchases, then you take up, otherwise factory overhead. Right? Service department, all the expense. This is the point which is asked too much in exam. Pause and learn it. After your factory or works cost, quality control cost, R&D expenses, research and development, administrative overhead related to production, minus some miscellaneous income like scrap and all, and primary packing. This will all come as a part of the factory works cost. Ma'am, ye kya hai, ye kya hai? Factory overhead will come. फैक्ट्री ओवरहेड यहाँ पे आ गया प्राइम कॉस्ट के बाद. आफ्टर प्राइम कॉस्ट यू एड ऑल द फैक्ट्री रिलेटेड repairs, insurance of plant and machinery, supervisor's salary and all. Okay, right. And then quality control and all research and development, administrative overhead, packing cost and all. Okay, right. Detail, you have all this in your material which is given to you with Sarthi, so check that. Once you have done the factory overhead and opening closing work in progress, you add all this, you get cost of production. In cost of production, add opening finished goods minus closing finished goods, you get cost of sales. Add administrative overhead general, which is related to sales. They'll give specifically in exam. If it is administrative overhead related to production, ऊपर ले लेना. ऊपर मतलब कहाँ ले लेना? Here. Here. Factory cost और cost of production के बीच में. Factory में ही admin we add, no? Right? And if it is related to sales, you take it here. And then we have selling expenses, secondary packing, distribution expenses, cost of sales, profit. Yes. Administrative expenses, which we will take it as general, secondary, here related to sales. Yes. Depreciation of corporate or general management building, director's salary and all will come here. Rent rates and insurance of office, indirect printing stationery, director's salary, all this will be administrative overhead general. So in short, it will come after the cost of the goods sold, administrative overhead general. We have solved many problems taking care of this कि director की salary किधर आएगी, cost of goods sold के बाद. And in exam, one of the exam, they gave director salary and they asked you to make it for 6 marks only till cost of production. Don't write. Whatever they have given, you have to park it somewhere. जरूरी नहीं है ना. Legal expenses, audit fees, all this will come in general administrative overhead. Okay. Then we have selling overhead, sales related, people's salary, rent, depreciation, maintenance, advertisement, packing, all. Distribution, when we sell it, salary, transport, all. Okay. And then profit and sales. What happens? Save and leave. No, you want to go.
This last two. Only last one table is there now. So this question will complete that.
Okay, okay. Copy and use it so that it's over.
Yes, sir. After this, I should mail you, ma'am.
Yes. I'm taking the class tomorrow. I'll use that. And again, you continue in this file only tomorrow.
Okay.
And again, mail it for Monday.
Okay.
So is this clear to you? Okay, once shall I repeat? Administrative overhead related to production agar hai kuch which is related to production, that only you take it here between the factory cost and the cost of the production. Otherwise, administrative overhead all will come after the cost of the production and before the cost of the goods sold. I mean, say here, cost of the goods sold ke baad, sorry, administrative expenses, selling and distribution expenses. All your corporate, admin office, accounts department, printing and stationery, all. Okay. And once again, please take a pause and check. I know I'm repeating. Ye items are very popular. If you check past exam papers, RTPs. I'm giving lot of weightage to that and then I'm making this revision video so that we are not missing out on anything. Quality control, R&D, administrative cost, minus the credit for recoveries and primary packing. Secondary packing will come down. So here we complete this format. Now what are the advantages? Once you make the cost sheet, you can know the presentation of all information. You can fix up your selling price, profit. You can plan it to use next month's budget. You can compare the cost sheet and actual. You can give tenders. So many times the governments, they call for tenders that we want to make this metro. So companies will give their tenders. So how do they give? They give their cost ki iska kharcha itna hoga, hamare hisab se itna kharcha, hamara profit, and we are ready to quote this selling price. Okay. Items which are not included in cost sheet given in the exam, write a note, brief one line note and leave it. Non-operating income, this is not a P&L account, this is a cost sheet. So rent received, interest received, profit and loss on sale of asset, plant and machinery, nahi lete. Yes. Then other than this, unreasonable, overly high salary of the MD of the company and all, no. Routine director's salary, board sitting fees, wo sab to lete hain in the admin general expenses. Payment of dividend and all, no. Income tax, no, we don't take it. Bed debts, no. Interest, earlier it was not taken, but now recently, this is recent one, they are saying interest because everyone is taking the money from market and doing the business. So interest, if they give, consider it related to the admin general selling expenses, cost of sales. So interest and financing cost shall be the in the cost statement as a separate item of cost of sales, not in the cost of the production. Sales may last may. Earlier, it was completely excluded, but now it is taken. Yes. Grants, if they are very important, then we need to reduce it. Penalties, demurrage charges, ye to kabhi bhi nahi lenge. Abnormal losses, goodwill and all, we will never take. Some implicit cost or imputed cost, opportunity cost, we don't take it in the cost sheet. They're just good for decision making, right? And advantages, did we see? Yes, right? So here we complete the super quick revision of the cost sheet, and quickly I'm taking you all to the booster notes. This booster notes, once we complete the revision series for all the chapters, we will be posting this PDF in our Telegram group. Okay, so if you're there, you will get this, and along with this, you will get all your doubts cleared also. Format, I need not talk. This is all my notes made with my own mind. If you want, you can take a screenshot. And I never generally prefer giving this part because I want students to write where they make mistake. Like factory overhead and admin overhead are charged for number of units produced, but selling overhead is always charged for number of units sold. Raw material is valued at cost of purchase. Yes. Work in progress stock is valued at factory cost. कौन से stock की जगह कहाँ है? Finished goods are valued at cost of production के बाद add opening finished goods, right? While writing opening finished goods and closing finished goods, the per unit column you have to put a dash, Because if cost of production per unit is 25, the opening will also be 25 and the closing will also be 25. Sometimes opening last month, say it is coming at 23. You can take that. Are you getting what I'm saying? In the cost sheet, cost of production is 25,000 for 1000 unit, and this is 25. Now opening stock is say 5,000. If per unit is given, take it. If not, at 25 only. And closing stock of finished goods say 3,000, वो भी 25 पे होगा. So your cost of goods sold, whatever it is, 30 and this minus 3, 27,000 units, whatever you have sold, per unit is 25. Check with me. You have produced at 25. You are selling at 25. Whatever is in stock is at 25. That's why we put a dash over there while we solve problem. This is a pitfall for you all to remember कि याद रखना है कि कैसे जब हम per unit के साथ बनाते हैं. For that routine, lot of problems are solved in the Sarthi batch. चलो. Opening raw material consumed plus purchases plus carriage inward minus closing stock is raw material. On GST on purchase, if add the GST, not on. Add GST on purchase if ITC is availed. Right? On GST on purchase, if ITC is availed, it will not be added in the purchase. Okay, it's correct. Grammar may be wrong because these are all handwritten notes in the class. So if you avail ITC, don't add it. Otherwise, add it. Sales plus closing stock minus opening stock is number of units produced. Opening stock plus number of units produced minus closing stock is number of units sold. In cost sheet, fixed overhead is always constant total. Variable overhead is always constant per unit. The moment your production increases, your variable overhead total will increase because per unit is constant. Fixed cost is constant in total. If you produce 25,000, 1 lakh. If you produce 2 lakh, 1 lakh. So fixed cost is constant in total. Variable cost is constant per unit. And semi-variable cost may you have to segregate. I've made a separate video for that. Just scroll up, down, you'll get. That is, in semi-variable overhead, if there is a change in cost, that is only because of the variable cost. So change in cost divided by change in units will give you the variable cost part in the semi-variable. Those who have done this and written, they will follow at a very reasonable price I'm giving, because this knowledge should reach everywhere across India. This should read all these concepts. So just check those videos which are there. To segregate the semi-variable overhead, I told you in semi-variable overhead also fixed cost is same. So variable cost per unit is change in cost by change in units into 100. If it is percentage on sales, change in the cost because sales is changing is only because of the variable element. So when you work out this part, no, you will get it. Administrative expenses, if they are general, take it along with selling expenses after the COGS. And if they are related to factory, तो cost of production के ऊपर लेंगे. Okay. Now sometimes they are asking you cost sheet with equation. Okay. If your cost is 100, cost. Now your cost has increased to 110. Look at the equation. Cost is 100. Profit is 20. It's a beautiful concept. And your selling price is 120. Okay. Now, if the cost is increasing and you want same 20% margin on the increased cost, to increase your selling price. You're saying, no, ma'am, it's a very competitive market and I have to keep my selling price as 120. Even if the cost is increased, if the selling price is constant, profit will decrease. Instead of 20 rupees, now you have 10 rupees profit. Cost is 100. Profit is 20. Ma'am, why you are teaching all? These are open concepts. Anywhere you can use them. And this is the way to study costing. then you need not ask me, मैम अभी तो कॉस्टिंग पढ़ रहे, फिर SCM है, कॉस्टिंग के पेपर में पता ही नहीं चलता कि दिस क्वेश्चन इज कॉस्ट शीट और जॉब कॉस्ट शीट. कॉम्बोज का जमाना है, C for combo, C for costing. This is the question paper, this is my answer sheet, the data and the pension flow. If cost is increasing 110, okay, right, and on that if I want to earn same 20 to 20% margin, so on 110 20% is 22, my selling price will increase. Ma'am, I want to keep the selling price same, cost has increased, so profit will come down. That's what I have written in this two line. If you want, pause the video, take the example, and then read and tell me is it clear or not. If cost is increasing, selling price is constant, profit will decrease, obviously. If cost is increased, on increased cost you want to earn same profit, then increase the selling price. This will be helpful to you to frame some equations. And last is sale of scrap or abnormal units is, okay, it will taken as miscellaneous income. So with this, in my way, I have concluded this. One more thing in the material, just have that mindset. What kind of questions are there? Once you know the format, now you know the pitfall. Sale of scrap kahan lena hai, R&D kahan lena hai. Ye dekho. They can ask you questions where they'll give you all the stocks. And you know, some stock is missing. Or one of the question purchases is missing. So many times direct labor is 150% of overhead and direct labor is given. So this is 150, so 100 is how much? Make cross multiplication your best friend. There are problems wherein you don't have to make per unit, don't do it. There are questions in exam where they say just get the cost of production. Stop. नहीं दीप्ति मैम ने बहुत पढ़ाया, मुझे तो COGS आता है. Please you have to complete the paper in 3 hours. Okay, right? And last I want to show you these kind of the questions. See, there are two products for which you are incurring the expenditure. This is I think November 20 का पेपर भी है और फिर से RTP में भी आया, so more chances of getting Superman and normal man. Okay, we have incurred direct material for both, but direct material and we know the number of units also. सुपर का एक्सक्यूज मी 40 है, नॉर्मल का 120 है. ओके मैम, डायरेक्ट मटेरियल 8 lakhs नो, डिवाइड बाय 1,60,000 यूनिट्स प्रोड्यूस्ड, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? बट दे सेड डायरेक्ट मटेरियल which is used for super is 2x and here normal is x. Direct material used in super is twice of normal. So then how will you do this working? Let us check. 40,000 units are using 2 times material. 1,20,000 are using 1 time. Now can we get the per unit cost for this 4 and for this 8? And then can we make the cost sheet? Same way. They said direct wages for the normal pen are 60% of the super. So what are the direct wages for super? W. So for normal 60%, 0.6 W. अब super के W into 40,000, normal के 0.6 W into this. See, both of them are not having per unit same consumption. So we are multiplying and then getting the per unit rate and use it. For production overhead, look at the language. Per unit is same. Okay. So 1,90,000 is incurred for 160 units because it's same for both. You can go ahead and make the cost sheet. Now, ma'am, here they have given the data for the both. This is answer solved. But they didn't ask you the per unit and all for two products. Don't do extra things. कॉस्टिंग में थोड़ा सा यही प्रॉब्लम होता है कि मैम कितने कॉलम बनाए, क्या करें. तो स्टिक टू व्हाट दे हैव आस्क्ड, डोंट डू एक्स्ट्रा. सी, दिस इज आल्सो पास्ट एग्जाम पेपर. R&D, क्वालिटी कंट्रोल, पैकिंग, सेकेंडरी, सेल्स से रिलेटेड, लीज रेंट for the production asset, factory overhead, administration expenses general पीछे, COGS के बाद, selling expenses. So just parking at proper place is important. Look at the screen. Indirect material is always a part of factory overhead, right? Lease rent. Factory से related lease पे लो, and if you take it on ownership, related to that depreciation insurance all will come here. Huh? Factory cost, after the factory cost and before the cost of production, always they will give the item. And students from my booster exam paper correction, I'm just sharing my experience to the students. Of course, you all are learning great. Ki they are not taking care of this. Ki quality control expense is not a direct expenses. वो technical know-how है, royalty है, quality control, R&D, scrap, all will come here. Is this clear to all of you? Right? I have done the best I could to give you a gist of the cost sheet, and make sure, promise me, you will revise it 2 to 3 times to get into the flow, and share it with at least 5 of your friends if you like it. Right. अरे मैराथन वीडियो भी आएगा, पर पहले आप चैप्टर वाइज तो सुपर क्विक रिवीजन करो. लर्न फ्रॉम रूटीन क्लासेस, learn from Sarthi. In Sarthi, we are solving the important problems in the class. So concept and problems very slow, and then we are looking into all the past exam papers also. There also I feel some important questions. I'm taking it. That's all for today. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you. Bye bye. All the best.